Good afternoon, my name is Bolaji, and I'm here to present to you the uniforms in our schools. Now, uniforms are of great benefits to students in schools because basically with, from the elementary, middle school, and high school levels, it's a recommendation. Now, not for older students who by then should know better what to do and what not to do. Now, the merits of wearing a uniform are for both the parents, the students, and the school administrator. The former President Clinton himself said in his State of Address in 1996 that if it means teenagers will stop killing each other over designer jackets, then our public schools should be able to require their students to wear uniforms. Now, like I said earlier, the pros of a uniform are for the parents, the students, and the school administration. Now, the students, first of all, it takes away the social and economical barriers because if you're all in uniform, say khaki and a white t-shirt, you don't know who has the designer labels and who does not. So it levels the playing field for those who can't afford the designer labels. Now, also, it instills a sense of comradeship among the students because whenever they see each other or see another student wearing the same uniform, they know they have something in common, which is that they go to the same school. Then it saves the students' preparation time in the morning, where they get to sleep a little because they don't have to think about what they're going to wear the next day, or like in some cases where parents demand the children get their things ready the night before, it gives them more playtime or study time. Then it's also one less distraction when the students are at school because you don't come to school trying to see what everybody else is wearing or who has the latest whatever. You all come in the same clothes basically, so you can focus on something else. And last but not least, it actually reduces bullying. On their website at www.stopbullying.gov, it was stated that bullied children are perceived as different from their peers, such as being overweight or underweight, wearing glasses or different clothing, being new to a school, or being unable to afford what other kids consider to be cool. So having the uniform will erase two of these factors, which is being unable to afford what other kids consider to be cool and the clothing issue. So that would greatly reduce bullying. Then there was also research done in Nevada by the University of Nevada, where uniforms were introduced at Sparks Middle School. And in the year following this, it was noted that discipline referrals were reduced by about 10% because the students tended to behave themselves better. Also, school police data showed a 63% reduction in police log reports, as well as decreases in the number of gang-related activities, student fights, along with graffiti, property damage, battery, and other administrative assists. Now, there are also advantages for parents, which it saves them money because uniforms are basically cheaper than regular clothes. Then there are also fewer arguments about which clothes you can buy and not buy, or what can and cannot be worn to school. Then there's the peace of mind knowing that if you're a parent that sets boundaries for your children, they don't wear one thing at home and then get to school and change into something else, because once they get to school, they have to come in with their uniforms. The advantages for the school administrators are that it helps you identify your students at a glance. You know who is who and who is not your student. It's also easier to enforce than a dress code because dress codes usually have to be bent. As in, people sometimes come to school with school characters, which are okay, but if you let one student come in with a harmless character, another student is going to come with a less than may come with a more harmful character depicting like drugs or violence. And since you let one student, it's assumed you're going to let the others as well. Then it's a fundraising opportunity for schools as well because they can also sell these uniforms rather than have parents sell things for the school all the time. And it would be a reduction in disciplinary issues because there's a reduction in bullying, and there's also, it's an added boundary, so there'll be more, but they'll be better behaved. Then the cons of uniforms, of course, are some people feel it will curb the students' self-expression, which I don't agree with, but in my research, I found that was one of many parents' concerns. But it's, first of all, it's just a portion of the day. They can express themselves with their clothes when they get home. Then secondly, it allows them to express themselves with their character because they're no longer able to dress up and appear to be what they're not, so they will have to develop their character. Then secondly, it may be a financial burden to less privileged families with multiple children, especially in cases where the school sells the uniforms. Now, it's still cheaper than having to buy clothes because most parents would buy at least enough for 2 weeks so that you don't have to do laundry every day. But it's still cheaper to have them in uniforms. And thirdly, bullies from other schools will easily spot the kids, which is not very likely to happen because most bullying happens within the same school, but it's still a concern for some parents. And lastly, they take away a child's individuality, which, like I said earlier, can be expressed in other ways, but other people have concerns that if they can't express them with clothes, they'll go to tattooing and piercings. Now, in conclusion, the idea of uniforms should not be discarded because it's actually a good thing. And uniforms are just one of the, clothes are actually just one of the many distractions that students have to deal with. So if you take away one distraction, that's lessening the amount of distractions that they have to focus on. Then enforcing them does not mean they will automatically become angels because, like I said, there are other distractions and other motivations for doing the wrong thing. And by enforcing, well, all in all, by enforcing uniforms, it has benefits